Here's where most women get stuck. Not in believing they have something worth sharing. They're past that. They get stuck in the, but what do I actually make with it question. Do I write a book, start a podcast, maybe build a course or offer coaching, consult, speak? The options feel endless, and none of them feel obvious. So most women do the thing that feels safest. Nothing. They stay in the thinking about it stage indefinitely, waiting for one option to feel so clearly right that they can't ignore it anymore. That moment doesn't usually come on its own, but clarity does come, and today we're going to work on it together. We're talking about how to look at what you already have, including things you might not even be counting as assets yet, and start seeing the specific products, services, and offers it could become. Because the path from I have something to I have something packaged is shorter than you think, and a lot more concrete than the online business world makes it look. Hi, I'm Trish, and this is Just a Number, the podcast for women 40 and up who are ready to stop waiting and start building from everything they already know. Part business, part unlearning, part confidence reset. Because you're not starting over, you're evolving with intention. We're talking lived experience, career wisdom, passions, and hard-earned perspective, turned into content, courses, and offers that actually help people. We're not here to play by the rules. Let's build boldly, teach what we know, and make it count. Welcome to Just a Number. So let's get into it and start by naming something that doesn't get talked about enough in the build a business from your expertise conversation. Most of the advice out there is built for a very specific kind of person. Someone with a professional background, a job title, a LinkedIn profile full of credentials. And the assumption underneath all of it is that your expertise lives in your resume. That's not the only place expertise lives, not even close. Some of the most valuable knowledge a woman over 40 carries has nothing to do with what she got paid to do. It has to do with what she's lived through, what she figured out the hard way, what she spent years navigating, surviving, learning, and eventually mastering, not because someone handed her a curriculum, but because life required it of her. The woman who spent a decade managing a child's serious medical condition and became an expert in how to advocate inside a healthcare system that wasn't built to help her. Or the woman who rebuilt her financial life in her 50s and now understands things about money, credit, and starting over that no financial planner ever taught her. The woman who moved through a grief so profound it changed how she understands everything, and now has a kind of wisdom about loss that other people desperately need. None of these women have a degree in what they know. All of them have something packageable. So before we get into the mechanics of matching knowledge to product type, I want to make sure we're starting from the right place. What you've lived, what you've figured out, what you've survived, all of that counts. That's what we're working with today. Now let's talk about what you actually have to work with, because this is where most people underestimate themselves. When women think about packaging their knowledge, they usually think about it in terms of what they know in their head, their expertise, their experience, their ideas, and that's real. But there's another layer that's just as valuable and almost always overlooked. The content you've already created. Content doesn't have to be something you made intentionally with an audience in mind. Content is anything you've produced that captures your thinking, a process, your knowledge, or your story. And most women have more of it than they realize. Think about what that actually looks like. Emails you've written, maybe to a friend going through something that you've already gone through, where you were able to lay out exactly what to do and in what order. Presentations you gave at work or at your kid's school or church or community organization. notes from conversations where you walked someone through a process you know well, a journal you kept, post-it notes that are all over the refrigerator that are collecting dust, videos you may have recorded, or frameworks and checklists you built for yourself because you needed them and they didn't exist at the time. Things you've made for clients, employers, for volunteer work that are just sitting in a folder somewhere. That's all content. And content is the raw material that eventually becomes a product. So the question isn't, what do I need to create? The question is, what do I already have and what shape should it take? Those are very different questions with very different energy behind them. And the second one is where we're starting. This is the part that I think is genuinely underexplained in most business building conversations. So I want to spend some real time here. Different types of knowledge map to different types of offers. And once you start seeing those patterns, a lot of the confusion about what should I build starts to clear up. The first type is process knowledge. This is when you know how to walk someone through something in a specific sequence. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if someone follows the steps, they get a result. This type of knowledge is great for a course. It's workshop material. It could be a guide or maybe a playbook. The key marker is that it's sequential. You do this, then this, then this. If your knowledge has that shape, you probably have a course or a workshop in you. The second type is judgment knowledge. This is the kind that comes from years of experience where you can look at someone's situation, read it quickly, and know what they need to do. You're not teaching a curriculum, you're applying your brain to their specific problem in real time. That's consulting, that's coaching. People are paying for your read on their situation, not a step-by-step process. A lot of women undervalue this type because it doesn't feel like a product, but it absolutely is one. The third type is accumulated knowledge. This is what happens when you've spent years gathering information, resources, frameworks, and recommendations on a specific topic. You know what works and what doesn't. You know the landscape. You know what questions to ask and where to find the answers. This could become a guide, a membership, a resource library, or a curated toolkit of some sort. Something people come back to and reference over time, not just consume once. The fourth type is transformation knowledge. This is your story, specifically the version of your story where you went through something difficult, found your way through it, and came out knowing things you didn't know before. This is speaking material. It can anchor a workshop or a program. It can be the foundation of a book. And it's often the most compelling thing a woman has and the thing she's most likely to discount because it feels personal. Most women have more than one of these. You might have a process and a story. You might have accumulated knowledge and judgment. So the question isn't which one you have, it's which one to lead with. And that depends on what your audience needs most and what feels most natural to deliver. There's a step in this process that almost everyone skips, and skipping it costs people a lot of time and energy. Taking stock of what you actually have before you decide what to build. Most women already have more starting material than they think, and a lot of it isn't just sitting in their head. It's somewhere they've forgotten to look, a folder they haven't opened in 2 years, notes from something they've lived through and documented without realizing they were creating something they built for someone else that solved a real problem and then just stayed there. The inventory step is what brings all of that back into view. And it's not complicated, it's just intentional. You sit down and you actually list what you have, what you've written, formally or informally, what you've taught in any setting, paid or unpaid. What do people come to you for repeatedly without you advertising it? What have you created for others that's just sitting somewhere? What do you know how to do that you've never written down because it lives so naturally in your head that you forget other people don't have it. For women who are drawing on lived experience rather than a professional background, this inventory looks a little different, but it's just as rich. What did you document during the hard thing you went through? Who have you helped informally? The friends who called you, the people in your community who came to you for guidance. What do you wish had existed when you were in the middle of it? What would you tell someone who is where you were 5 or 10 years ago? The answers to those questions are your inventory. And most women, when they actually do this exercise, are surprised by how much is there. The goal of the inventory isn't to overwhelm yourself with options. It's to get clear on what you're actually working with before you make a decision about what to build. Because when you can see what you have, then the right starting point usually becomes a lot more obvious. And this is exactly the reason that I just built the Package What You Know free mini course. And I want to tell you what's actually in it because I think it's going to make you want to go take it right now. Lesson 1 walks you through real examples of different types of experience and knowledge and what each of them can become. Not hypotheticals, actual examples of the way knowledge maps to product type so you can start seeing your own through that lens. Lesson 2 is interactive. You get to choose your own overarching topic and drill down into it, revealing the specific kinds of products and offers it could generate with real client examples along the way so it stays grounded and concrete. This is the lesson that tends to make things click. And lesson 3 is the inventory exercise we just walked through, built into an interactive format so you can actually do it, not just think about doing it. You'll walk away with a real picture of what you're working with and how much further along you are than you thought. 3 lessons, 20 minutes, free. The link's in the show notes and also in our Instagram bio. So go take it this week. Do all 3 lessons, do the exercises, and see what comes up for you. I think you're going to surprise yourself. And if this episode helped shift something for you, share it with a woman who's been sitting in the I know I have something, but I don't know what to do with it place. She needs this conversation too. And follow the show so you don't miss what's coming. I'll see you in the next episode.